Thinking about buying a franchise? Don't go it alone. Just like a buyer's agent in real estate, you deserve someone who's on your side every step of the way. That's where Todd Abraham, the franchise guy, comes in. Todd's consulting services are completely free to anyone looking to buy a franchise. He'll represent your interest, make sure all your questions are answered, and walk you through the entire buying process. With Todd in your corner, you'll have the best chance for success from your first call to the day you hold the keys to your new business. So before you buy a franchise, talk to someone who knows the industry inside and out and works for you. Call Todd Abraham, the franchise guy, today at 423-381-0925 for a free, no-pressure consultation. That's 423-381-0925. Your future in franchising starts here. Welcome to the Franchise Marketing Systems Client Spotlight podcast series. My name is Todd Abraham, and with me today, we're doing something that I've never done with doing about 30 plus interviews, podcasts for the FMS Client Spotlight podcast series. But I'm with Miracle Bay today, and we're doing take two of this podcast. And the reason being is because we did not realize it when we did the first run, but her audio on her tablet was not coming in clearly. She sounded like she was coming in from like maybe a spaceship from Mars or something. So I don't know. And I was kidding around with her, and I said, we had so much fun doing it the first time. We thought, hey, why not do it again, you know? So Miracle, welcome back.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. That's very cool. My phone just rang, and it's Dr. Bell, who is someone I was talking to about buying a franchise in a medical sector. Real sweet lady. Back to what we're talking about. So Miracle Bay, as I'd said in the first run we did on this, she's got an amazing name. She's a very smart woman, very accomplished chef, and she has built a company here, which I was really blown away by because I'd never heard of catering on the water. And when I say that she has thought of every last detail, she has thought of it. So Miracle, welcome back. And tell us quickly, I want to do this a little bit different, but tell us quickly, like, what makes this catering so much more unique than just standard catering?
What makes it more unique is that you get to eat in a swimming pool. I know you're probably like, that's weird, but it's not. Like, people already want to sit there and have their drink in the pool, so why not have a tray in there with you that's floating that you can sit it on? You can have your snacks in there, but we actually do luxury catering. So with the catering company, we'll cater breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and we call it a dining on water experience. And it's one of the most unique experiences you can have when it comes to food. People love to go to different restaurants, fancy restaurants and things like that. But what happens when you're at the pool and you want to order food? This is going to be luxury on the water. So you'll be able to order food from us, and we'll come and we'll deliver it. And we'll set up in a basket. We have two different sizes, largest and extra largest. And then we plate the food in an elegant style. We do like the smoke effect. And we'll put the dry ice in your drinks. You can have mimosas by the pool. We'll do like cute little fruit baskets, fruit trays. And then you could also do like another style. If you have like a large party, you could do your appetizers and fruit in the basket. And then we'll do like a display setup outside the pool, either inside, or you can have it outside, however you prefer it to be.
Yeah, and what's really cool about this is just some of the little details I was talking about is like, so she's actually has anchors for the floating food trays so that they, you know, if there's motion in the water, it doesn't knock everything over. If little Jimmy decides to come to a cannonball off of the diving board, you know, it's not going to topple everybody's dinner. And even fans that go onto the baskets to keep the bugs away. And I just thought I love those small little things, attention to detail. And I think it's important to note too, that when you buy a franchise, and which, by the way, the name of the company is Luxury Floating Miracles, and the website is Luxury Floating Miracles, HTX, which is short for Houston, Texas.com. And the franchise information page, since we're talking about websites, is luxuriousfloatingmiraclesfranchise.com. But what's cool about this is that you've got this very unique catering opportunity as a franchisee with her company, but for the on the water catering, but also you'll be able to cater other events too, not necessarily on the water. So we just want you to understand, if you're tuning in and looking to buy a franchise with this company, that you have on the water and not on the water catering opportunities. And Miracle, tell us about the recipes. There's no experience necessary, right?
No, you don't need any experience. We will provide recipes. I have about 60 typed up and ready to go. And that's just the first batch. I am creating some more for some of the other services that we offer, like the Elegant Bites, where people could get hors d'oeuvre catering. It'll be some of the same things off the regular menu, and then a few more additives that we've added in there for you. And then as far as the other catering goes, we do brunch caterings. That's drop off. You get a luxury setup catering. And then we also just released our Lux Box. And so with the Lux Box, it's basically like a gift box, and there is brunch food in there or dinner food. And you can have it for 1, 2, or up to 6 people. And we'll come and hand deliver it to you. And if you get it for one person, you can send it to somebody as a gift. And we could deliver it to them with some flowers and some balloons, and it'll be a really nice surprise for somebody. But it'll be a luxury brunch for them.
That's very, very cool. You talk about creating new recipes. I can just see you in your kitchen at like 3 a.m. Your hair standing straight up like Einstein, and you've got this mad look on your face, like a scientist, a mad scientist, with all these ingredients thinking, what can I do next?
Yes, it
Uh,
was definitely a lot to create the recipes. We had a huge catering menu at first, and over the past 2 years, I've actually shrunk it down. And then the original will have more recipes, but the franchisees will have a little bit less. So they'll have the 60 plus a little bit more, but I probably have like 100 to 130 recipes for myself.
And while we're talking about that, let's say that you do get a franchisee that comes on board and they have a series of really, really awesome recipes that they've proven. You're open to them sharing those with you and possibly adding those to the repertoire, right?
Yes, of course. We'll test them out, see how they work, and then we'll see if people are ordering them on our side. And then if it's something that we decide we want to add in, then we'll add it to the menu for everybody.
That's awesome. And we talked about Gordon Ramsay last time on the podcast, but, that's one of the things that he always recommends, is simplify the menu. You don't want it to be overly complicated, and too many choices is not necessarily a good thing. So kudos to you for, like you said, simplifying the menu. Um, so I know you mentioned this on the first time we did this, but this is like a new podcast, but just give us a little bit of background about what gave you the idea for Luxurious Floating Miracles and then how you developed it into what it is today.
I actually experienced a floating brunch, and once I experienced it, I was like, I could do this. This is a service that I feel like is different. Nobody's doing it, and it's something that I knew I could add to my catering. And so I decided to order my baskets, and I came with my menus. And after I came with everything, I came with my price list, and I started everything in 2022 of August. And last year in January 2024, we decided to make it its own business. And so we made the LLC for Luxurious Floating Miracles. And then we went on to go into the process of thinking about, okay, how can we get this to other people in the United States? And then that's why we decided to franchise.
That's great. So let's talk about pricing, franchise fee, all-in minimum investment, and then like monthly royalty, that sort of thing.
So it's going to be 30,000 initial investment, and then you will spend between 70,000 to 122,000 for the rest of the things that you need for your equipment. That includes the franchise fee, but it'll be for your equipment, uniforms, and basically everything that you need to be set up. And the reason why it fluctuates is because in some areas you may need more, or you may want to start out with more equipment. It just depends on the market and where you're at. And then the royalties is 8%, and the marketing is 8%.
Right. So yeah, just to be clear, so the franchise fee is $30,000. The all-in minimum investment, which includes the franchise fee, is between $72,000 and $122,000. And again, and something I want to point out I love about this business is that you can work from home. You do not have to be a chef to buy this franchise. Like Miracle said, she's got everything like a science already prepared in these 60 recipes, which are already proven. She's got everything, the arrangement of the baskets and how everything, the marketing, she got it all set up for you. So it's plug and play. And we talk about this a lot on the FMS Client Spotlight podcast, and we mentioned this last time, but it's important for those of you listening who are considering buying a franchise, who are maybe thinking, well, I could just go out and do this on my own. You might be able to, but the research shows that you'll get to your income goals faster by buying this franchise with Miracle 2 to 3 years faster than you would if you try to go out and do this all on your own. And that is the beauty of buying a franchise. So, Miracle, talk about your ideal franchise candidates. Who do you think would really excel buying a franchise with you?
Someone who has worked in the hospitality industry, has great customer service, who's a hard worker and driven and passionate about the culinary industry as a whole, and wanting to make their client and customers happy. And the whole thing is it's a customizable experience, so they could choose what they want. And then we make sure that it's up to their standards and our standards when it comes to the decorations, how we're putting it together, and then make sure we follow up with the client afterwards to see how their experience is. But definitely somebody who has worked in the hospitality industry. And if you haven't and you're a hard worker and you want to learn, we also will take people like that too.
Right. And I think it's important to note too, that it needs to be somebody who's got thick skin, who can take people who maybe are a little bit more affluent. They can tend to be a little bit more direct and condescending in their feedback. So I think somebody with that kind of a personality character trait would be a good fit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because the more, in my experience, the more you cater to the higher income echelons, those people can be a bit more picky and demanding. So it needs to be somebody who can tolerate that kind of feedback and just, let it, like we say, let it just roll off your back like water off a duck's back, right?
Right.
So, Miracle, one of the things I was very impressed about you as I read your About Us on your website. And again, the website is Luxurious Floating Miracles HTX, which is short for Houston, Texas.com. That's the primary website. If you're maybe wanting to book an event with her in the Houston area. And then the franchise website is luxuriousfloatingmiraclesfranchise.com. But I was so impressed with your background. Tell us a little bit about how you became the chef that you are today.
So I always cooked when I was little. I've been cooking since I could stand up to the stove. I was like 5 years old. And then I started cooking at my mom's homeschool, and I'll cook for the kids. I'll cook lunch for them. And then I decided when I graduated high school at 15 that I was going to go to culinary school, and I got a bachelor's degree in culinary arts at Nicholls State University. And I have a bachelor's degree in culinary. And then after that, I decided that I was going to open my catering company in Louisiana, and I was there. And then I moved to Houston in 2019. So when I moved to Houston, I was just working for different companies. I was a sous chef. I became a director of dining services. I've been an executive sous chef, and I've been an executive chef. So I have all around experience in the culinary industry. I've even created a menu for a bar out here in Houston and trained their staff in like 2 days. It was really crazy.
That's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm the same way. early on, it must have been the Lord, but I just had determined that, I didn't want to eat out all the time. And the first big event I ever cooked, I was like, I don't know, 16, 17, maybe, or young age. And my brother and his fiance at the time were having this big cookout, and they're like, well, who's going to cook? And I'm like, well, I'll cook. And of course, I made some mistakes, but something just kind of clicked in me, and I thought, I could be good at this. And so the Lord has blessed me. I'm a really good cook now, and I can make a chicken parmesan that'll make you smack your mama and take off running. But don't do that. So for those of you maybe who are tuning in, and just to recap, we're talking to Miracle Bay. Her last name is spelled B-E-Y. And she is the founder and president of Luxurious Floating Miracles catering service. And the unique niche about this catering service is that it's on the water. That is the best part of it. And then you do not have to have experience. You can work from home. She has everything prepared for you, the recipes, to provide all of the materials you need, the baskets and everything, the training, everything you need to plug this thing in and go. And Miracle, you think it's safe to say when somebody officially becomes a franchisee with you that within 30 days after that, they could be generating revenue?
Oh, yes, definitely. We already have the ad that we're going to set up for them ready to go. So that will be ready so they can start running that ad immediately after you buy the company so that we could have a launch date. I also have a CRM system that they'll be using that's a plug and play. And so I can get them set up with that fairly quickly. The training will only take a few weeks. And so, yeah, they definitely could start within a month's time. The only thing that may take a little while is them to get their baskets, but they definitely could do caterings, brunch drop-offs, deluxe box. They'll be ready to go.
That's awesome. So tell us about how do you typically market your business there in Houston? What are some of the things that work for you?
So I've done social media ads. That's probably the biggest thing. That and then having a social media manager, making sure that we have quality posts going up, and then I usually boost those posts. And honestly, I have out of maybe 100 people that see the ad, 60% of them are going to go to the page, and 30% of them are definitely going to follow of that number.
That's awesome.
So it's a high amount that sees the ad that will come and be like, okay, let me check this out. This looks really cool. It catches their eye.
Yeah. And if you look at our website, which I think is amazing, you can see what we're talking about with those beautiful floating catering baskets on the water. I mean, live, like actually, like if you walked out in your best friend's pool area and they were sitting there in the water, you can see that on her website, which again is luxuriousfloatingmiracleshtx.com. I would think some of the ways to be very successful in marketing this would be like at least for the first year to join the local chamber of commerce, because again, this is such a unique concept. And for me, having been in business for so many years, being 56, being to restaurants and traveling around the country and never having seen this, I got to believe there's just a zillion people out there in this country who also have never heard of it. So it would just seem to me like when somebody becomes a franchisee with you, well, if they hit the ground running, I mean, before they know it, they could be covered up.
Right.
Yeah, covered up for sure. And even like social clubs, especially where there's wealthy people in attendance, there's an organization called the Red Hat Club. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. But clubs like that seem to me like they'd be a fantastic place to market this type of business to.
Yes, definitely. To the luxury communities, people who have pools, that does make it easy to market to the people who already have a pool. But if you don't have a pool, there's a solution for that. You could book a pool off Swimply.com, and it's just like Airbnb, but people are renting out their backyard with their pools. And I use a lot of those pools for my bookings, and we already have some approved vendors that we've worked with on there. And so I always make sure I send that list of people out whenever someone inquires. So that can make it easier on the client. But they can go on a website, search, and find their own pool, one that's not approved, and just ask the owner, hey, can we use this? Even for hotels, if they come in town and they have a hotel, as long as they ask management and they say it's okay, we'll deliver it there too. But it's definitely easier to market to people who already have a pool in their backyard.
Oh yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I had forgot we talked about that on the first time we did this, about the fact that you can actually rent a pool, like you said, an Airbnb. And again, I had never heard of that until you mentioned it. So I love how much time and effort you've put into making sure that every single angle is covered so that when franchisees come on board, they can immediately hit the ground running and be successful. And just to reiterate, like I said, this is one of the lower priced franchises in the food sector that you'll find anywhere. Most of the food sector franchises, any type of restaurant, you're looking at $250,000 minimum and up, most of them. But with Luxurious Floating Miracles, 72 to 122,000, that's all in minimum investment. That includes the franchise fee. And then of course you've got your monthly, royalty and your marketing fee. But what's great about this, again, work from home. You do not have to be a chef to buy this business and be successful at it. And I mean, I just love it. So, Miracle, where would you like to see your company? And say, we talk about this year one, what is your goal for how many franchisees you'd like to bring on board? And then say 5 years from now, what would you like to have as far as number of units?
For this year, the plan is to get at least 5 people. My goal in my mind is 10, but 5 people would be great to start off with. That'll get us together, and then in 5 years, I want to have between 25 to 40 throughout the U.S.
Yeah, I personally think that's low for a 5 year goal because once this thing catches on, I mean, I just think it could really take off because again, it's such a unique concept. And why would somebody want to go out and try to do this on their own when they could buy a franchise with you and plug and play and just go? Um, so as we get ready to wrap up, let's talk again about how you chose franchise marketing systems and what's been your experience with them so far.
So I actually watched a podcast on YouTube when I was like looking into franchising, and it was the first podcast I watched. And there was a lady, Kika, who I watched on there, and she said that she was like the youngest franchisee that there's been. And I was like, okay, this looks pretty cool. So I was watching it, and she said she used franchise marketing system. And so I looked them up. I watched some of the videos with Chris Connors, and I was like, okay, he definitely has like a lot of information on here. He definitely knows what he's talking about. These are going to be my people. But I didn't even look at other companies. I literally was like, okay, this is the company I'm going to call when I'm ready. And so last summer, I decided to call just to get some information. I wasn't necessarily ready at the time. And so I called to get some information, and then we had a call with Chris Connors, and my mom was like, let's do it. And I was like, let's do it. I was like, are you sure? She's like, yeah. I was like,
That's
okay, if you say so. So we just got the ball rolling, and we started everything in July. So yeah, that's just how I chose, because I was like, she said it was the best, and there's so many other people that's out there that will try to take your money and have you spending a whole bunch, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, that's crazy. So I was just like, okay, he's giving us a good price. And so I was like, okay, this is the people we're going to go with. And I really liked his energy. I liked the person who I talked to the first time. He was really intrigued with my business. He was even giving me ideas of things I wasn't even thinking about, like the seasoning line that I've created, just because I don't necessarily want to give all of my recipes to the franchisees. So the way that I was able to like preserve it is to create seasonings. And so they'll get the seasonings, and then the seasonings is what they'll put in the food, and that's how they'll make it taste just like what I was to make. And so they was just giving me different ideas, and I was like, yeah, this is the company. And it's just been a great experience. They did all my paperwork probably within like 2.5, 3 months. They did the website, which looks amazing. And they're just really receptive to anything that I say. They answer any questions, and it's just been a great experience.
Yeah. And for those of you that are tuning in who are possibly thinking about creating a franchise out of your business, just know me that I'm not the kind of person just to recommend a company just because I'm a person that firmly believes in integrity, a person that believes in diligence, and like we talked about, attention to detail. And as a franchisor myself with FMS, and Miracle can attest to this. I mean, like she said, they do everything for you. They do your franchise disclosure document and everything else. They do your business plan. They do your franchise information website. They help you file your federal trademark. Um, and they create this amazing 8-page sales brochure for you. They answer all of your questions, and they do all this for about the same price that a franchise attorney would charge you just to do your franchise disclosure document. And then, if that wasn't enough, when they get done with everything, they help you promote and sell your franchises. And even more, they break up their fee for you into 6 to 8 monthly installments, which, again, I personally have never heard of another company that creates franchises that does that for their clients. So it's pretty amazing. So, Miracle, I'm excited that we could do our take 2 on this podcast, and this one should turn out amazing. But any closing remarks before we wrap it up?
No, if anybody is interested, please give us a call at 832-510-8898 or reach out to us on the website, either our personal website or the franchise website.
Right. And again, just to say again, the main website is luxuriousfloatingmiracleshtx.com, and the franchise information page is luxuriousfloatingmiraclesfranchise.com. I encourage you to check out both of them because, man, you're going to see some beautiful food in a beautiful presentation. Miracle, thanks so much for doing this again with me. It was as much fun the second time as it was the first.
Yes, thank you.
All right. And listen, folks, if you're interested in buying a franchise with Luxurious Floating Miracles, the on the water catering service, you can reach out to me directly. My name is Todd Abraham. My phone number is 423-381-0925, and that's Eastern Standard Time. Miracle is on Central Standard Time. She's in Houston. And just remember, as we close, you're tuning into the Franchise Marketing Systems Client Spotlight podcast series on franchiseradio.net. Thank you for tuning in.